Hi class, Mr. Phelps here today to talk about section 1.8. So looking at 1.8, we're talking about perimeter, circumference, and area. We have two goals today. Today's goals are 1, find the perimeter or circumference of basic shapes. And then number 2 is to find the area of basic shapes. Like always, if you're running a little behind, please make sure to pause the video if you need to. So to start, our three terms, right? Perimeter, area, circumference. What are each of these? So to start, perimeter is the sum of the lengths of the sides. So sum of the lengths of the sides. Again, we know sum is dealing with addition, so we're adding up all the lengths of the sides. The area of a figure, area is the number of square units a shape encloses. So what that means is a square unit, so maybe it's 1 foot by 1 foot, and we're wondering how many of those can fit inside of our figure. Maybe it's inches, so it'd be 1 inch by 1 inch, and so on. And then we have circumference. Circumference is dealing with a circle. It's the distance around the outside of a circle. Very similar to perimeter, but it's called circumference when we're dealing with a circle. So to start with, we have some of our basic shapes that we deal with, ones that we see the most often. So start with our square. What we know about a square is that all 4 sides are the same length. So I'm going to label this S for side length. We know that all 4 of those sides are the same. Doesn't want to mark up there. There we go. So we know all 4 sides are the same. So when we're dealing with perimeter, the sum of our 4 side lengths, we have 2 ways to write this. You can think of it this way. It's just S plus S plus S plus S. Or you can rewrite that as 4 times S. 4 times S. To find the area of a square, what we're going to do is we're going to do length times width, but in a square that's the same measurement, so it's just S times S, or we could rewrite this as S squared. So that's perimeter for a square and area for a square. Now we're going to go down to a rectangle. Rectangles are very similar. Right, with the rectangle, we have our length and our width. Label all 4 of these sides. Right, our lengths are the same and our widths are the same. When we're finding perimeter of a rectangle, right, we're going to add all 4 sides together. Length plus width plus length plus width. You could think of this also as we have 2 lengths plus 2 times the width. And then when we're dealing with area of a rectangle, right, area of a rectangle is just length times width. Length times width. Now going up in the top right there, a triangle, I'm going to label these sides A, B, and C. And there's a specific reason I'm going to label that bottom one B. We're going to talk about this in a second when we get to area. Right, to find the perimeter of a triangle, we're just going to add all 3 sides together. A plus B plus C. So A plus B plus C. What we also have in a triangle that's key for us is we also have the distance here that we call the height. Call the height of the triangle. And so in a triangle, to find the area, our formula is 1/2 base, which that's why I labeled this one B. That's the base of our triangle times the height of our triangle. So the base of the triangle times the height of the triangle, and then times 1/2. So now getting to a circle, notice we do not have the letter P. We don't ever find the perimeter of a circle. What we call that is the circumference. And we have a formula for this. The circumference of a circle is 2 pi r, or pi times the diameter. right? We have to know what those two things are. Our radius is the distance from the center to the outside of the circle in any direction. That's called our radius. And then our diameter is the distance from one side through the center to the side opposite of it. So the diameter is the whole length across that circle. Again, our formula then for circumference is 2 pi r, so that r is for the radius, or pi times diameter. And then getting to area of a circle, our formula for this is pi r squared. So that r stands for our radius. R stands for our radius. Again, feel free to pause the video if you need to write these down. I'm going to move forward here. So our first problem is find the perimeter and area of this rectangle. It has length of 4.5 meters and a width of 0.5 centimeters. So if we look here, right, it says 4.5 meters and 0.5 centimeters. But notice, these have different labels. They're different units of measurement. What we're going to do is we're going to change that meters into centimeters. So we're going to rewrite this. 4.5 meters is actually 450 centimeters. Every 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. So now that we have that, we can rewrite this to say 450 centimeters, because we need the same unit of measurement if we're trying to find perimeter and area. So to start with perimeter, right, we add up all 4 sides here. So we're going to take perimeter is equal to 450 plus 450 plus 0.5 plus 0.5. Well, 450 plus 450 is 900. Then plus a 0.5 and a 0.5 would give us 901. And we label that as centimeters. Label that just as centimeters. Then we have our area. Right, our area is length times width. So we're going to take 450 and multiply it by 0.5. And to get that, we get 225. And then we got to be careful when we're dealing with area. It's our units squared. So this is called centimeters squared. Centimeters squared. Moving on here. Finding the circumference of a circle. Right, circumference of a circle, we have 2 ways to find this. Either pi times diameter or pi r. Oops, 2 pi r, apologize. Or 2 pi r. So if we're looking here, notice we are given the diameter already is 14. So our lives are pretty easy here. Our answer is just 14 pi. And then we'll put a label on that, inches. Now, if we wanted to do the same problem but with the radius, right, we have to know how we find the radius. Well, the radius is just half of whatever the diameter is. So that's 7, and we can plug that into our equation. Right, if you're already given the diameter, no need to work backwards there on that one. Now to find the area of a circle, right, our formula for area is pi r squared. So good thing we just found our radius. Our radius is 7. So now we have pi times 7 squared. Well, we know 7 squared is 49. So we always put the numerical value first, then pi. So 49 pi, and then again our label here, inches, but since it's area, we're dealing with square inches or inches squared. Again, feel free if we need to pause the video. Moving forward here, a garden is 12 foot by 4 foot. So 12 foot by 4 foot. And it has a walkway that is 1 foot wide.